So I'm just gonna eat my burgers and then we'll get straight into answering some questions. We do not need these anymore. I'll just put my drink on me as well. Great. Hello there. Some of you may recognise me from my Instagram channel. Others might recognise me from Channel 4's alone. I am Louie.Seddon. That's just a full stop in my Instagram name. So I did put out on my Instagram channel, you know, questions about the show. What do you want to know? What don't you want to know? So we have a question here. How much notice did you have between finding out you'd be on the show to day one? I mean, a lot of people are watching the show thinking, oh, if I was on the show, I'd do this, I'd do that. Yeah, I had about 4 or 5 weeks from when I knew to the day we would fly out to Canada. But obviously I'm working a full-time job. I was actually doing a bathroom up until about 3 or 4 days before I flew. Truthfully, how far away was help? Were there people keeping a close eye on you all? Help was not near. I mean, I've been on Twitter and I've seen some funny comments. I've seen people saying that production were all around us. We were being filmed by production. I've seen apparently there were armed forces across the water aiming guns at us just in case a bear attacked us. The truth is, if we did get attacked by a bear, you were on your own. There's a SOS button you can press, but they still had to get from the base, which was miles away, to where you were. And I know I was the furthest one away from the base. Yeah, it was a particular dry year and the Mackenzie River was really low. So low in fact that the speedboat you see, that boat couldn't come to where I was. They had to park that boat up, get on an inflatable dinghy with an outboard on the back and go the rest of the way because it was too shallow. I'd estimate if I pressed the SOS button, I was looking at about 40 minutes to an hour, maybe more, for them to get to me. And that's me being honest. There was no one around. When I say that you were alone, you're alone. Pigeon. Yeah, I had a ton of questions asking what my 10 items were, so I've done a separate video for that because it's pretty long. So you can go check that out over there. How did you sleep? How did you sleep knowing that there were bears going about their business around your camp? How on earth did you cope with the bears? Another question, did you ever get really scared? Another question, were you scared? If yes, did it eventually go, or was it the same fear throughout? So a lot of question about bears and fear and that sort of stuff. I know a lot of the other contestants were very fearful of bears. They had lots of bear activity in their camps. But for me, see, my situation was very different. I was the only one there who was able to hunt big game. So for me, I wanted bears. I wanted moose, I wanted bears. Anything I could hunt, I'd want in my space. So I didn't really have fear. I think it was night 2, I heard rustles. And don't get me wrong, I was like, what's that? Who, what goes there? But really the fear died down. What a beautiful fire. As far as fear goes, no, I didn't have a fear of the wildlife. I really wanted to see him. I wanted an up close and personal with a male black bear, broadside. I just wanted the opportunity to try and hunt one. Shall we move on? Did you get told when someone left so you knew how many people were still in the competition? No, you don't get told anything. Well, I didn't. Anyway, I don't know if other people did, but I didn't get told anything. And I know you're all thinking like, oh, maybe there's, you hear the speedboat come or you hear the helicopter come. This leads me on to my next question, which I have been asked over 100 times by different people. Pigeons just want to die. How long did the cameras you were given stay charged for? So what would happen would be every 4 days maybe, you'd receive a small message on a Rockstar, which was the sat phone they gave you, and it would say bring your rushes, which is like memory cards, and dead batteries to the shore. So you'd have this huge power bank. It was massive, and you could charge your GoPros, you could charge the main camera, and we had rechargeable batteries for our microphones, and we'd charge it through the night. But you'd get a message. What you had to do was you had to take this power bank all the way down to the shore and this thing, and at some point in that day a speedboat would come. But when I did see it, the guys would come. They usually had like neck scarves over the nose, and they had sunglasses on, so you didn't even see their face, and they were told they can't talk to you. So this boat would come. I saw them when I was fishing once. They come, they do not acknowledge you, they grab the bags, they change the bags, they go. But the reason why that kind of made it interesting was when you heard boats coming and going, you couldn't tell if that was someone tapping out or if they were just doing a battery run. Next question. Did they give you any training before you went on the show? Yeah, so I've had a ton of questions about the training we had. It was 9 days where we had training. So we were taught what to do with bears, what to do when they attacked, how to use bear spray, how to use bear bangers, and there was also how to prevent bears from being around your kind of area. Bears are genuinely just nosy animals, so there's a new smell in their area, they're gonna suss it out. So we're taught to cook food at a different campsite than where our beds were. Yeah, we were taught a lot of things, but again the difference is I wanted to see bears, I wanted bears up and close, so I was throwing like fish bones all over my area, I was pooping in my area, I cooked where I slept, I even dug a hole. You can see in episode 3 I dug a hole where I was burying my fish, and I'd put like timber across the top of it, so if a bear did come to dig it up, I'd hear it before it stole it. Smart move. The 9-day training also involved what plants would kill you if you ate them, and what plants wouldn't kill you, which is more important. We had a wonderful survival expert called Adam. He's actually been the survival expert for near enough, I think it is every single one of the US alone shows as well as this, and he's an absolute splendid guy. A lot of time for him. Very, very knowledgeable. Did you have to film a certain amount of time per day or just wing it? We were told to film, I think it was minimum of 40 or 50 hours a week, but you know, you're trying to do your best, you're trying to give them as much content as possible for them to make a good show. Filmed from when I woke up to when I went to sleep every single day, which was extremely difficult. I'd say the cameras made it quite difficult for me. For one, I'm not used to talking about my emotions. Yeah, so we were told, we want to know how you're feeling, what you're thinking, what the emotions are, which was all stuff I wasn't really used to. I'm kind of just, you know, I just crack on and that be that. So yeah, the cameras for me were quite draining. I didn't benefit from them at all. Also, I mean, you go to fish, or you go to cut a tree down, you had to go and get your main camera and your GoPros, you had to set them all up before you cut the tree down, and when you are starving, the last thing you want to do is be setting up cameras and making sure your microphone's on and changing all the batteries. It was a job within itself, just keeping the cameras and the microphones running. I know some of the contestants actually liked the cameras, as it kind of gave them someone to talk to, because out there you are so alone. I can't really describe it. Like right now I am in a forest on my own, but I can hear cars in the distance. Got my phone here, I've just eaten 4 burgers, I'm drinking. Like, it's so different to the feeling of being alone out there. Yeah, even the camera didn't make me feel like I was in company. Yeah, moving on. Are you happy so far with the production? I'm guessing that's company, has made it, or do you think it's misleading? I would not say it's misleading. It's difficult. I mean, some small-minded people might watch it and go, oh, these are all stupid, they don't know what they're doing. there is a lot of intelligent minds, a lot more intelligent and more prepared than I was. I mean, I'm just a simple builder and I do this stuff as a hobby. I know very minimal bushcraft. I don't claim to be an expert. I quickly learned how to use a bow. That kind of came like second nature to me. But yeah, there was a lot of intelligent minds. I think in the first 2 episodes, we all look a little bit silly, you know, before my wall falls down. But, you know, that's the truth, it happens. And when you're tired and you're hungry, mistakes happen. I mean, I don't know of a person who's never made a mistake before. I'd say every single one of us did extremely well. I mean, until you're dropped, you have no idea how well you're going to do. You can be prepared, you can be a bushcraft expert. That does not mean you're going to do well. And I can say that with chest. I think what Channel 4 did was they focused a lot on the mental side, but there's a reason behind that. The mental challenge of this far outweighs the physical. And I'm talking starvation, sleep deprivation. Yeah, it's the mental side of it outweighs all of that tenfold, for me anyway. Next question. Oh. Did that water taste as bad as it looked? Oh my God, it was vile. It was so bad. But you get used to it, your taste buds change while you're out there. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, everything changes. Your taste bud change, your smell changes, your vision changes. What I started doing was I would put pine needles in the water as it boiled, and that kind of released a bit of a flavour. And then I think it was day 8. Don't hold me to that, but it was about a weekend. I found a few sprigs of mint, so I was able to put mint and pine into my water, and it was kind of like tea. Sorry, I'm getting like eaten by midges. What would you do different if you did it again? And would you change your 10 items? I've already spoke about my 10 items in another video. There probably would be changes I made to my 10 items, but you can check it all out there. Would I do anything different? Yeah, I would have done a lot of things different. I think when you're dropped, there is kind of, it's not panic, but it almost is. It's kind of like you're running out of time. For me anyway, so as soon as I landed, it was the 4 things I needed. It was water, shelter, food and fire, and I went ballistic when I landed. As soon as I landed, I had walked my entire field up to the northern point before my rockstar got beeped and told me to turn back around. I'd set a gill net out, I'd had water, I had fire, I had shelter, and I was already hunting, and you know, I was already looking for stuff. I'd collected loads of berries, and basically what I found out was this kind of challenge, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's slow paced, it's boring, it's painfully slow. It's almost like time would stand still. So yeah, if there was something I was going to change, I'd go into it so much more relaxed, because the forest wasn't going anywhere. I wasn't going anywhere. So yeah, I think at the start I rushed quite a lot, but also there's this fear that you're going to run out of calories and that would be it. You won't be able to build, you won't be able to do this. But I mean, surprisingly, you can go quite a long time without food. It's a scary kind of idea, but for me, starvation wasn't the worst part. It was awful, don't get me wrong, starvation is awful. It makes you feel terrible, it messes with your brain, it makes you go paranoid, you can't sleep. That was another thing. For some reason, I was sleeping about 3-4 hours a night. What was the hardest aspect of the challenge? The hardest aspect of the challenge was the isolation, number 1, and number 2, the boredom. Because when I got told I was going to Canada, I pictured bears, I pictured mountains, blue water, salmon, you know, crazy environment, and it just wasn't. It was flat, big, you know, there was a big river which had no characteristic. Forest was not what I was expecting. Like the forest there, even the camera doesn't do it justice. You couldn't walk through it. Everything got caught on everything. Your pants, your boots, your microphone around your neck, my bow, the cameras you were holding. It was a nightmare to try and walk through. Right guys, I think I'm going to leave it there. It's very late, I'm very tired, and it's very dark. It might as well be a radio show by now. But I want to thank you all for tuning in. If you want to keep up with what I'm up to, please give me a follow on Instagram. That's where I post all my daily stuff, adventures, that kind of thing. But yeah, feel free to like, subscribe, and also if you've got any other questions that you want to know, feel free to write them in the comments below. And I will either get back to you on here, or if you DM me privately on Instagram, I'll also give you a message there. But yeah, appreciate your time. I appreciate all the support I got while the show was on. So thank you very much. Good night.